So you can have fire and be afraid of it, but if you learn how to use it and master it, then you're creating a whole new world with that tool. So it's just learn how to master what you have in front of you so that it'll benefit you. Time is super important. And when you recognize how important it is, you're going to use it so much more efficiently and intentionally. And you're just more aware for that. And you do see it as a gift. When you know it's gone, so that it'll benefit you. And that is the same thing here. It's like, don't be afraid of the flashes. Don't be afraid of natural light. Just study it, figure out how it moves and to create, and then hear how other people are using it, because their perspective is different.
Hi, and welcome to this week's Behind the Lens, a photographer's life. And we've got Sharon with us today. Hi, Sharon. So, can you tell our viewers and lovely people out there in the world, where are you in the world? Where are you based to start with? And once you've told us that, what's your studio called as well?
So, Sharon Neihart. I'm from my business is Nihart Photography, and I am in Pennsylvania, U.S., Pottstown, Pennsylvania.
Right. Okay. So, what style of photography do you do? What type of photography?
Yeah, so I am in the portrait world. I've focusing lately a little bit more in the business world of headshots, but I have done families, little children, some newborns, some little events. Let's see, sports banners, high school seniors.
So a bit of everything.
Yeah, anything in that portrait world. So
right, cool. So how did you get to the portrait world? How did you get into photography? When did that start in your life?
So it started. Well, I always knew I liked photography or photos. Like that was always something that was interesting to me, but I never pursued anything like that.
When you say you already knew that, how young? At what age was that?
I would say definitely in my teens that,
Right.
I was excited to get my photos back. And I was just, I'd pay the extra money for the doubles. You would get, 2 sets. So I would do that. And then when the CD came out, I would buy the CD, it wasn't it wasn't the craft. Like I didn't pay attention to that at that age, but I know I enjoyed looking at photographs, things that were National Geographic type, things like photos that you saw from afar.
Yeah,
those are always just like, wow, it's pretty cool. When I went to college, I did not have room in my schedule for any photography classes. So I didn't take anything there.
So what did you do at college? What was college?
So college was psychology and education.
Okay.
So it's like a dual major kind of thing. So I was psychology major, and then I had certificates for teaching students with special needs and elementary. So,
right.
Yeah. So, but I didn't have any room for anything really on the creative side. I had friends who did take classes, and it was always neat to see what they did. And I was always a little bit jealous that they got to do that. So I didn't really.
Was it the tangible thing then, that you could see that tangible thing that is
I could see
created?
what they produced. I mean, they had the camera, the DSLR, the film, and they would show some of their work. And, I couldn't say it was anything like mind blowing, but it was still like really cool at that time for me. I didn't have that. That was like my first exposure to that that world of photography.
So did you go into psychology? Did you do anything like that? A job first,
I
or
went into education. Education was the focus. So I was a teacher for 10 years for special needs students. So,
okay, right?
yeah. So I
So
did that.
what
And
was the trigger? What was the trigger to get you into photography then?
so my husband at the time bought me a DSLR camera when my daughter was probably like a year old, or just
Right.
under a year. And so then I started learning on that. And it was a film camera. So I was writing my notes down of trying to remember, what I took, why I took it, what was it going to, what type of effect it was going to have. Um, so that's kind of how I started. And then that led to the next camera, which would have been my first digital camera.
Okay.
So, it kind of went into that world.
So what got you from the actual playing around and enjoying photography to actually saying, right, I'm going to do something serious with it?
So I guess it was some people would around me, other like parents, they would see some photos and say, "Oh, you should do something with this. You should, start a business or get a business page on Facebook." So those were like, I guess I would say the first kind of inklings of like, or the first little nudges. And then from that, I think I joined a camera club. And then from the camera club, it was like, "Oh, do you know about this resource?" And it was Professional Photographers of America. So then I looked into that because they taught, somebody mentioned like they have good insurance and the education. They have a conference. So I started, from there, joined that organization, went on a conference. Uh, and then I think a year later, I went back for their yearly conference, Imaging USA. And there I met another photographer, and they're like, "You should just put in the paperwork. Put in the paperwork for, an LLC and, kind of get started." So
So when did you start getting clients then? Was it before you went to the Professional Photographers of America? Was it after that Facebook? Did you do something with Facebook and the Camera Club? When did you get your first client?
first clients came from like friends.
Right.
And then when I knew I wanted to be more serious and be taken more seriously, um, that's when I decided to kind of really learn more about the business of photography.
Hmm.
Like I kept that up. Well, I should say I knew I needed to do that, but I was also learning, and I was also teaching myself. I was also going on, workshops and trying. So I just kind of built in this little by little by little, like inching up.
So when was the moment that you thought, yeah, I'm doing this? Was there any time in your mind that you suddenly went from it's something that I've got as a hobby that my husband bought me a camera that I'm really into to I'm going to do this? Can you remember that time?
I would say, I mean, when I saved money up for my lights. So little by little, I just saved money away to kind of get a little bit more gear and a little bit more gear. And then I took the opportunities because I had my kids and they were home and I was home
Yeah.
with them. And I didn't really want to give that up.
No. No.
So I kind of try to balance with learning and going, um, to conferences, to whatever I could with the time that I had. I was also working in the schools, doing some teaching, whether it would be subbing or a part-time job. And so I think it was like 2018, could have been 17 that it started, where I was like, okay, I'm going to make my name as a business. And then little by little, 2019, I got my studio space. And then 2019, the pandemic hit, but I was also working part-time as a teacher. So I was navigating, all of that. And then it was 2022 that I decided I need to reach out more to people who aren't my friends, learn more about business, learn more about networking, and really just growing from that point of working with new people.
So when you got to the point of getting a studio and getting a studio space, you mentioned about getting gear and stuff and your equipment and whatever. What was it that you suddenly thought, I need? Was there anything that you thought, if I'm going to do this, I need X, Y, Z? Was there a list? Did you create anything, or was it? Where did that come from to understand what you might need
For the business or for my studio
for
space?
your studio space to start with? Yeah. What
Oh
kit?
gosh. I don't know, it was a slow grow because at first I started out working, sharing the space. So I had like a studio, you know, not co-worker, but just a studio partner. But partner's not the right word. Um, and I was working part time. So I don't know. It was little by little by little. I had my camera. I had lights. Um,
How many lights did you? Because
I
as people
started
go
with
and think,
three.
I need how many lights I need before I start, and I need this and I need that. Was there anything like that in your mind that you thought, oh, I must have this before I can do it, or I must have that? Was there
Yeah,
anything like that?
prior to my current location, I did like my basement, and I just set up my own little space down there. Um,
Right.
nothing, nothing really commercialized. Nothing like I was going to invite people to my house, that I didn't know, kind of a thing. But I built out that area. I started out with a speed light, and then I saved money. I bought my three lights. I did like studio lights from Calumet, which is no longer a lighting company, but uh, so I started out with three lights, studio lights, mono lights, and kind of just plowed through videos and manuals, because at the time it was a lot of books more than
Right.
YouTube videos. It wasn't a heavy dosing of YouTube videos um, that I was exposed to or I was ready for. So it was like DVDs, a lot of DVD watching. Um,
Okay.
so I started out, I would say for the studio stuff, I started out with the three lights. Uh, I invested, you know, I think I got a good product for that time. It wasn't like cheaper. I still use them. They're long last,
Oh yeah.
they're still there. So
Hey, I've got lights. I've got lights that are older than most people.
yeah,
And they're still
yeah,
good. They still work.
yep.
And then I have modern ones, but like, yeah, I've got some really old stuff in the
I look
studio.
for old stuff. Like
Yeah.
if somebody's selling something, I'll look for it because
I
it's
mean, I have a light that's at least 45 years old that works beautifully,
wow.
and
Yeah,
and yeah, does and gives us a quite a nice effect on certain things. If I want to use it. So
yeah.
yeah. So was there a time then when you went, yeah, I've cracked this. I know what I'm doing. I know how I'm taking it. Because that lighting of how to do it, get them to work, get them to fire, what to the point where you go, oh, I think I can do this. Was there a light bulb moment for yourself in that?
I would say sometime after attending some workshops that I got the validation that I was searching for. Like, oh, I know that. Oh, okay, I get it. So I couldn't say it was like special moment. Um,
Yeah, because a
I
lot of
think
people.
it was the exposure with just interacting with other professionals that are mentors that I can ask them. I can ask the question, and I know I was. It was just a validating answer. So
Yeah, a
I,
lot of other people have said this in on the. I mean, I think I remember Darren said something. It was like when he went to a course, he suddenly realised that the imposter syndrome didn't need to be imposter syndrome because he actually knew what he was doing. Because
yeah,
somebody else said, "Oh, well, you're doing that well," and then it was a bit, "Oh, actually, am I? Right?
yeah.
You know, I'm no longer an imposter. I am actually. I know." And
I think I would say like last year I attended like a workshop or class at a conference, and it was one of these big conferences, so you get a lot of people in there,
yeah,
and hearing some of the questions that some of the members, of the audience were asking, that was probably an eye-opening, okay, I do get this. Like I do have it. Not that I get it, but I do have it. Like I don't need to sit here for this
the rest.
particular portion. Like I can go find something else because I do understand what is being said.
You could have answered the questions for them.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. And so
and
I was
that's
like,
that
okay,
point of yeah.
yeah, so I felt good. I mean, I'm always learning, and there's always things
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
doubting myself, or I'm like, oh, I can't believe I forgot that. Um, that happens, and
It never stops. It
right,
never stops. I mean, I've lived this my whole life, and it never stops. There's always something because there's a new piece of kit coming in, and somebody said, "Oh, you could do it like this," and there's that software, and oh, you can. Right. Well, how does that work? It never
yes,
stops, does it? Really? And there's always. I think the fundamentals never change. Um, but yeah, there's so many. Well, crikey, we go from flashlight to continuous light to all. So it's a different craft all the time, isn't it? And or you mixing both, and there's so many things to learn permanently. So yeah, nobody. I don't think anyone can ever say they know everything because it's just physically impossible. There's too much, you know. You can have a very very good grasp of everything. I think that's the key, isn't it?
yeah, and then that's where we can take it and then utilize it. It's like I was listening to something today, and it was about fire. So you can have fire and be afraid of it, but if you learn how to use it and master it, then you're creating a whole new world with that tool.
Yeah.
So it's just learn how to master what you have in front of you so that it'll benefit you.
Mm.
And that is the same thing here. It's like don't be afraid of the flashes. Don't be afraid of natural light. Just study it, figure out how it moves and like to create, and then hear how other people are using it because their perspective
So
is different.
so what gives you the buzz? What part of the job? Because obviously you had a little smile on your face when you thought back to getting those two sets of prints back. You know, you could see that there was a little sparkle in your eye there when you said, "Oh, I used to get my two sets of prints back." What gives you the buzz of the job now? What part of it that you go, "I love doing this particular thing"?
I think it's seeing the image and then seeing the images and then seeing the reaction of the people that they see themselves and they're like, oh, that's really good. I like that.
Right.
And so it's seeing that and giving a person the product, giving them something that they probably wouldn't have done themselves, um, or they would have been like, "Oh, you don't need to do that." Even like headshots. So if it's certain headshot packages, I'll print it out, and so they have it, and they're thankful and grateful that they have it, and then they'll gift it to someone, and they're like, "Oh, because like that's rewarding, when you can actually give them something that extends beyond themselves, that extends just beyond their appreciation for how they look. Now they have something that they can then share with somebody else, or even themselves, and just be reminded that, yeah, that's me. So,
Now, I hear this a lot from a lot of different people, and everybody talks about this. So, I think it's starting to say that photography isn't really about the camera, about the photography. And I'm hearing a lot from a lot of people that, like you've just said, when they extends beyond that, and a lot of people are saying that it extends beyond just the actual photography side of it. And is it so for you? Is it the interaction with people, or what? Because obviously you studied psychology and obviously teaching and things like that. So is it that interaction? Is it seeing that interaction? What do you think? Is it more of these days?
I definitely the connection that a person is feeling. So even in the teaching, even in when I was teaching and working with younger kids, when they got something and it clicked, then they felt good.
Yeah.
And when they feel good and they see that somebody took the time with them so that they can advance, they were just more pleasant, more enjoyable. They came back with more interest.
Hmm.
So for them, they had more hope for something else because they had a good experience with you. And I think with teaching, that extends into them doing better in school, increasing their self-confidence. And so I think with the photography, that is in line with that. Like, people come in, they see it, they have the, good experience. You're talking to them, you understand them, you're getting to know them so that they can move on, to a different level of appreciation for their efforts. And they're just kind of, I don't know, happy about that experience of seeing themselves differently.
Yeah.
So it's not really
Yeah.
it's not
Because
really about the print. It's not really about me. It's really about them. And like, when you can see somebody else happier, that's a bonus.
yeah. Because I mean, we all, and I think that is the true part of it, really, isn't it? And I think a lot of people are starting to grasp that a lot more. And I think the more and more people that grasp that, the better. Because there's so many people go, oh, it's about the kit, it's about this, it's about I must have those lights and I must have this camera, and do you think that really matters?
It doesn't matter so much as we're and I think as we get further into it's the experience that does matter. it, it matters that things were easy for them. It matters that they enjoyed, and it wasn't work, but it was pleasurable. It was motivating. It brought them to a space that they didn't realize before. So
Yeah.
that's the stuff that, it's like when you go to Disney and they're there and you're getting good service and everybody's smiling at you and everyone's, saying happy birthday to you if you have a pin on you. So your experiences is like, oh, people are noticing me, people are seeing me, and I didn't have to do anything besides just be present and around. So the experience just, made it that much better. And of course, if the lighting is good, or if their food at Disney is good, or if the lines are less, it's going to be that much more of a positive experience.
Yeah,
So
and
that all
that's
adds
one
to
of the
it.
key things, isn't it? Because like you've just said it, if you went to Disney and the rides were rubbish and the things were rubbish because they were substandard, doesn't matter how much you fluff over it to say that what an amazing, how it would be noticed and everything. If the quality of what they produce is not there, it's pointless, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could have all the wonderful rides, you can have good food, but if your service provider was negative, then didn't treat you kindly, then you're going to be like, oh, that really stunk. But
Yeah, so you could.
if you have that positive personal experience, it's going to make it doable. But then you add on great like interactions at the gate, in the line, as you wait, like when you get up to finally getting into the ride, like then the ride is great. Now, okay, the wait was worth it because I
Yeah.
had nice people around me. I had nice people like greet me when I got to the end. Not only that, but when I got off, I got some ice cream and they were super nice. So, like,
So if you took that back to photography, what would you say standing in the line is?
good question. Standing in line, I think, would be the time before your shoot,
Yeah.
before your experience, is that you want to not feel like you're going to wait and wait and wait, but having the communication, having the positivity, and that excitement build up
Yeah.
to your day is and to be checked in on. That
Because we all
that would
hate
be
waiting
fun.
in line, don't we? We all
Yeah,
hate.
yeah, because then you don't know, when is it happening? Is it not? Should I stay? Should I go? But if you're
So,
getting checked in on, if you're like, hey, it's going to be great, and yeah,
yeah. So when you think of it in that way, when you think about the Disney, and then you think of it like it's really quite important,
it's
that section,
very
isn't
much,
it? You know,
very much so. Yeah.
but and then and equally the ride itself, being in the studio. I mean, you could have useless. I mean, yes, everyone says, "Oh, I could take a portrait on my phone if I needed to." Well, technically, yes, you could, but can you do all the things and give them that experience and light it the way you would want to and stuff? If you know, and it's the ride of the photography session. Do you think that's part of the experience, or do you think it's just the physicality? What would you put on it? Is it
Oh,
important or not?
definitely important because you want to feel safe, So when you're in front of the camera, you want to feel safe, you want to feel comforted, you want to feel excited, you want to know that
Mm.
it's going to be lifting you up. So when you get done with the ride, you're looking for that high. You're looking for that excitement to like walk off and out the gate.
So, what's your trick then when you've got your client in your studio? What's your little trick to give them that high to make them feel that way? What do you must have something that you do?
Well, I think it's a lot of the positive reinforcement. It's the words that we choose to use. For some, it's having them look at the images, to get a sneak peek. I think those things are a large part of making that client enjoy it more. Because some people go on a ride and they're scared. You
Yeah, yeah.
know, so if you reassure them, then they have a better experience with that. So,
I
and you can
suppose,
always
yeah, you
add
do.
in, you could add in things that they like to make it more comfortable. So if it's music or, I don't know, breaks even for some people, just knowing that if they need the break, you're there. And if they need a special song to kind of put them in the mood,
Yeah. Yeah.
calm
That's a
their
good way of
nerves.
doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just allowing people, I suppose, in a way, isn't it? It's allowing people to be.
Yeah. It's also direction. It's also information. It's also letting them know this is what we're doing. This is what it like. If I'm more direct in my ask of them, then they feel like, oh, she knows what she's doing. You were really good at that's what I'll hear from people. It's like, yo, you're really good at giving the directions. Thank you, because I didn't have to think about it. I was just doing it, and like, thank you. Like because I was standing there and I didn't know. I was afraid I wasn't going to know what to do. So they
Yeah,
got
in the UK, we tend to say being a bit of a plonker, stood
okay.
as a plonker in the middle of a, oh, what the heck? I don't, it comes from an old TV show.
Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of people go, I'm going to feel like a complete idiot
Yeah.
stood there. What do I do?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of people's biggest fears when they're in the studio, even before they walk through the door, is, am I going to be made to feel an idiot and look an idiot? And I think that fear of exposing yourself in that way is one of the worst things that we all feel.
Right.
And I think it's one of the key things, isn't it, to try and reassure people that
Yeah.
not going to let
And then so that's why sometimes showing the photos on the back of the camera is helpful, because then you are reassuring them. Some people need that. And
just to go,
mhm,
right, yeah. Something I never do. I never allow anyone to see that.
okay.
It's something I don't. Um, I tend to say no. I say to them straight away, no, you look amazing. That was amazing. So, and you won't believe what you're going to be able to see when you see it. I don't let them, but I can see the positivity of letting people doing it. It's something.
It doesn't have to be every one. It
Oh
might have to
no,
be
definitely
right,
not.
but it's
Yeah, if you've got somebody that's really apprehensive, I can understand that. Yeah,
or
it.
they won't loosen up. So if you
Yeah,
share, kind of share them something, you're like, this is it. You were in the moment right there.
I think one of the key things, I have done it in the past. I don't allow it happen now in my studio, but I have done it in the past. And I think one of the key things I always used to, you hear it a lot, don't you? Oh my gosh, it doesn't look anything like I thought,
Yeah, very much so.
because they're in a bright room and you can photograph them and it could look as if it's pitch black
Yeah,
almost. And they can't imagine what you're seeing with light that's been fired. And I think that's one of the best things, I think, about Flash. Do you still use Flash?
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because they don't
I like my
see, they
flash.
have no idea of what they're going to see. And I think that's one of the key things with it, where with continuous, they get to see, you've got a good idea of what's going to be seen.
Yeah,
But where they go, oh, it looked nothing like that, and somebody else with a phone stood beside you pressing the button, it's not going to look
yeah.
anything like
It's
it.
not gonna get the same.
Yeah, it's which is one of the better things with Flash. A good reason probably to keep it, I would say, rather than us move away from it. But yeah. So what's the piece of kit then that you've had and got recently that you've gone, oh yes, I've got this? Has there been anything apart from your Wacom tablet that I know you've got?
Yeah, love my tablet. So something that I have recently got
Yeah.
I'm excited about. I don't know. I've been trying to not buy anything. So, uh, God, I would be excited if I did get a certain, some new lights, but I haven't done that yet. So, but I keep looking, and I'm not buying it, but keep looking. Um, I'm gonna have somebody that is close to me in my building. She's going to paint my wall in my studio. So
Okay.
that's something that I'm going to be excited about. So I
Right.
put that in the books, and she's going to help me out because, we know each other. So, and that's just going to be different for the studio, and I'm looking to
Yeah,
offer something
it's
new.
one of those things, isn't it? Because is there a time? Have you ever thought? And it's one of the things I've never really. I suppose I have in a way. Do you think there's a time limit on how often you should change your studio around and
Oh,
decorate walls and stuff? Is there a
I
is there a
don't think there
need?
should be a time limit, because if it's working and people like it, then you have something. Like they're coming to you for that reason. So I don't think there has to be a time limit unless it's a themed session.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, yeah, you'll have to change that out.
Because
But
I've always thought, in my way, I've thought, well, I've got a client that's come in, I've had this particular background, and then that client might come back 2 years later, and you've still got that same background. And you go, well, I photographed them on that before. It could have been yesterday. Do I need to do it? But then, you, do you think like that, or do you think that matters?
I don't I don't really think it matters, because if they're coming in and they liked what they had last and they ask for that, then they're looking for consistency. They may be looking for that timeline, and they
Yeah,
want to have that similar look.
yeah,
So I don't think it's really up to me. I think it's more up to them on if they were in the past and they came in, they would say it. They would say, I'm looking for something different. If you're in a different season and you need to kind of go with their clothing, then yeah, things need to change in that respect. But if you're going classic or something has a little bit more legacy and timelessness to it, then no, I don't think
yeah. It's
so.
quite a good way of thinking about it because a lot of people, I think, would think, oh, I need to change and change and change because if people are coming back, but
You also have like a generation. So like if you're fortunate to be in the business for a longer period of time and photograph generations, one generation is going to have that background, and then if you bring in the next generation, it just extends that story and it's more cohesive. So at least you have that opportunity to do it.
yeah, I just know because it's funny because I'm only asking to see
Yeah.
your point of view on it because it's quite interesting because in my studio we had a particular background that was up for nearly 40 years. It was the same. One part of the studio was one background, and it was there for nearly 40. I would say, yeah, going on at least 35 years that I know of that it was there in the studio, and it didn't make any difference, you know.
Well, then you don't change it.
Yeah,
You don't
it
really need to change it.
it's because it's just some people think, don't they, when they're thinking about this? Oh, I've got to change, I've got to do. And I mean, yes, you're going to get a new wall, and is that more for you than your client? Do you think?
I would say at this point it might be a little bit for me. Um, Maybe because I don't I don't feel like I use what I have enough. In you know I'm not enjoying it as much. So
Yeah.
like
Mm.
bringing in something new for me to get inspired about, and then to share that, and then kind of test it. If other people are enjoying it, then it's a win.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking because I said a couple of weeks back, I said on here, I said, oh, what I'd love is to redecorate my studio. And I've said that to lots of people while they've been in the studio. I'm thinking of redecorating much of it. But then I sat down today, why somebody was getting the hair and makeup done, and I'm looking around going, yeah, but it doesn't look bad. It's still nice. And then I'm thinking, do I really need to do this? All that effort? Is it worth my effort?
Sometimes it's just a refresh. Sometimes
Yeah,
it's like I'm
it's
not really. I've opened up my space a little bit to so I'll get more room. So I think that's what brought about the idea to just have the whole wall painted, so that I can have more usage out of it.
yeah.
Um,
That's if there's a reason for it, it
yeah,
makes sense. It does make sense that way. But if it's sometimes I think for doing's sake, you're thinking, am I just making work for myself? And then it's the fact that yes, we all we decorate our homes, don't we, and do things because you want something to look fresh again and new, and I get that. But when you think, oh, that particular thing works, why, if it's not broken?
you're still getting clients, and you're not. If you're still getting your ideal clients coming in, and they're still having a good experience, then you got something good.
So, what's your ideal client then for you? What would be your ideal client coming through the door? That if you could turn around and say, everybody else has stopped, I'm just going to have person X. Who would person X be?
Person X would be somebody who really is working towards being a healthy person. They enjoy challenges. They enjoy their family. They enjoy helping out. They are punctual. They know how to keep time. They're not like, they know the value of time. I think
Okay.
ultimately that's a key part, is somebody who knows the value of time, and they're going to use their time in the best ways possible. And if that's spending the time with their family, if that means that they need to take a course to educate themselves further, to dress a little bit nicer because that's going to help them, then those things are going forward. So anything then, that forward mentality of being healthy and helping.
So basically you like being around positive people. That's
Yeah, yeah,
That's what you're saying, isn't it? So if you've
yeah.
run positivity and positive people, and I think when you're saying people that appreciate family and time, they're appreciating your time and that connection with the family.
Yes, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
everybody. I mean, somebody could have all. They could be that person, but still have a bad day, and still have their challenges, and that's normal. But if they can roll back and just kind of like realize that them thinking, I don't know, healthier
mm,
is really, I go back to that, is they can apologize, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm I missed it, I'm late, I can't do this," but they're respectful, they're gracious, they have that capability that they display more than somebody doesn't. And
yeah,
and I guess it's when people have a harder time, I think that's where
yeah.
myself,
I mean,
I have to come in and recognize that where they're at is where they're at, and that's okay. Doesn't
yeah.
mean anybody's bad. It doesn't
Well,
mean
it's a funny one,
anything. It
isn't
just
it?
means that you just have to remember that everybody's in a space, and if
Yeah, and
you see
I
them,
have a little filter system on my studio. One of the things I do, I try and filter out what I class as cold pricklies.
people,
people people that you just don't want to be around. It doesn't matter if they're needed or not. There's some if they're going to make my day, even when you spend, because it's a full day, if they're going to make it absolutely miserable, it doesn't matter how much you help them. If I'm going to leave work at the end of the day feeling miserable, I don't want that. I want to leave going, I've helped them, but it's lifted me up as well.
Yes, that's a great way to say it. And I think
So
that your interactions are, it's a win-win, because either you're winning because you're helping someone who had a bad day, but they didn't bring you down,
yeah,
or, you had a bad day and they brought you up, you know?
a life full of warm fuzzies, as you
Yeah.
could say.
See, we're talking in ideals, so.
Yeah, yeah. It's you know, but then there's lots of those type of people out there, isn't there? And
Yeah.
that's what's nice about the job. There is loads of people that you can interact with that are going to be like that.
But I mean, I think like we know, with working with people is like with anybody, and I'll say it with my kids, it's what can you do to help them in the space that they're at, just to let them know that you, at some level, you appreciate them, even if they can't, even if they're not a right fit for you. You can still show them
Yeah,
that you appreciate them calling, you appreciate um, their interest, like you can still give a
it's
positive
taking an
vibe.
interest in people, isn't it? I think that's what's key. If you take an interest in them, and you take an interest in that person, why they're with you, and not just why they're with you, but you actually. I mean, I chat to my wife often about clients that we spent the time with, and you my goal is to become a friend and end up having thousands of friends from being in the studio and enjoying my time, because hopefully you've given something to them, but if you've given something to them, you take away something really good for yourself as well. And that's what's for me. It's taken away that positivity for me that gives me
It's
that.
the gift of time.
Yeah,
It's that gift that we have of time, and if we can really hone in on that time, we are being present
yeah,
with that person and with ourselves. And when we can do that, then we know we are really valuing that precious gift of time.
yeah.
And if we start wasting it and we start going down a negative way, then we're not really using our time wisely. So then we need to adjust and think, how can we make it better? And
So
it's
do
either
you,
we're making it better, we want to make it better all around. We want to make it better so that they're, in a happier place and we're in a happier place. You can only change you. You can only change yourself. So if you're trying your best and it's not satisfying somebody, you just have to be okay with that. But you have to know that you tried
yeah.
and that you're recognizing that. So
Hmm. And do you think it's then important what they actually get at the end? Because if you've given them the time and that part of you, and you've captured something special for them, I think it's important what they actually end up with.
yeah, they need to have some proof, to have something that they can look back on and remember. That's important,
Yeah.
and
What do you think gives somebody that better proof? Do you think is there for me there's an ideal goal that's going to give them that reflection of proof. What what do you want your clients to? If you could, in an ideal world, all your clients walked out the door with a particular thing, what would that be? Would it be something digital? Would it be something physical? What would it be?
physical is going to always be the best, my opinion. Something that they can hold and share, become something that is no longer just, it's the sharing aspect that allows us to move our experience to somebody else, and someone else can take hold of our experience. So by handing them a book, by having them view a printed, wall piece, art piece, that they're experiencing it, and you already experienced it, but now you get a new experience of them seeing it and them enjoying it, and it just allows for more experience to happen when you can share it, display it in your home, have it in a collection of images. I think all of that tangible, aspect of, the print, the power of a print is.
Yeah, it takes you. It gives you that.
It just goes to another extension. It's no longer just between a screen, and a person. And you can share on social media, but I mean, I could share something with you, but I'm not with you. I'm not in that room. But if we are in a room together and you see it, then there's a conversation. Then it's an additional experience that is brought about by having that tangible piece of art, that collection of images, that story that you get to have with somebody else.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. That's,
You are there together, because it's the time, again, going back to time. Everybody wants time, but people want time together. People want time with valuable experiences. Just time doesn't hold the connections unless there's someone else there to experience it with. And it could be your pet. So all the pet photographers, all those pet owners, their experiences are with their animal, with their fur baby. Like, it's not because their fur baby is, being watched by somebody else. It's like they're not having that experience. But when they're at home with their
Alex put that really well the other week, where he turned around and said, the one thing that we have is now. That time is now, with that animal, with your, and that's what's really important, the now, and that shared time. It's funny how you've come back to exactly the same thing that he did.
Yeah. It's drilling down to what is the most important thing. Time is super important. And when you recognize how important it is, you're going to use it so much more efficiently and intentionally. And you're just more aware for that. And you do see it as a gift. Because when you know it's gone, it's gone.
It's something we can never get back.
It's like when you go on vacation, you're like, I'm going to enjoy this. And, because you have to go back home. You have to go back on the plane or in the car to leave a place that you are there to enjoy. So.
Yeah, enjoy every moment of every waking moment of your life. My dad always says that. Treat every day as if it's cost you £1 million to live it. That's what my dad always used to say to me when I grew up. Every time I used to walk out the door, he said, remember, it's cost you £1 million to live today. That's what every time I used to leave the house, that's what he used to say to me. It's, enjoy your day, live it properly, which is, I think is quite a good way of saying things,
Yeah. We need more people like that to say that.
Yeah.
It's not that sometimes, some people don't have that. And it takes a lot for them, it can take a lot of repetition for them to believe it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you have it, really give it to somebody else, because you were blessed with that, and keep sharing it.
So moving forward in time, what's your goals for the future? Where would you like to be? Have you got a plan for yourself to move forward? Have you thought about where you want to be?
Currently, as long as I can keep growing.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't have like I don't limit myself with anything. I just am trying to go one day and next day and just make it the best. I mean, I want to have more clients. I want to have uh, the work life harmony. Like I want it to come together. It's never going to be in balance, but I want it to flow. I want it to be where
Yeah.
I'm
And
doing it to the level that I'm enjoying it and it's being beneficial to other people. So if that looks like a time period of like growth and then I'm adding on people into the studio to work, then I'll let that happen. But right now, it's just for me personally, it's just having more of a harmony feel. Um,
yeah, and I mean, I think that's one of the key things, isn't it? When a lot of people say, "Oh, I want to achieve this, and I'm going to get that," and and then I think when I look at things, I just think, no, that work-life balance is one of the biggest key factors as I've got older. When I was younger, I remember when I was younger, I would go into the studio and I'd be in the studio at 8 o'clock in the morning and I wouldn't leave till midnight and I'd be there 7 days a week. And I remember my life just was the studio and it just revolved around and I was living there just about, I was only going home to sleep, which was crazy. Um, and then there becomes that little light bulb moment that you go, yeah, work life balance. But then my life was work because I didn't have a family at that point in time.
right. Yeah, it's different for everybody at different
Yeah.
stage.
And there's no right or wrong.
Right, right,
It's just what you want, isn't it? It's what every individual loves to do. And that's one of the gifts that this job I think does give. It can allow people to have their own level, whether it's one client a year or whether it's 100 clients or 1,000 clients a year. It's whatever your comfort level is, isn't it? And what you want to get out of it.
right. And it's what you need. Like, I mean, everybody's at a different point in, the amount of money that they need to sustain in a business because everyone's
On a different
lifestyle is
journey.
different,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
so it does give you that flexibility. What I like is the growth on it because you are learning always.
Yeah.
So you're always learning. Um, and that that in itself is change a life, it's just
I
life
think
changing.
I think for me, I like the fact that you learn the little things and little nuances of the job. But I think I'm always learning about people. And I
Well,
think
one of the
that's,
things that I get to do things that I wouldn't have done if I was in the classroom.
yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with being in the classroom. There's nothing wrong with that. But this just provided different opportunities to meet different people who think, who are in all areas of life
Yeah.
that that is exciting. And it does, I mean, it challenges me because then I realize I don't know a whole lot about that. So,
Yeah.
then I'm like, okay, I'm really naive on that. I better learn something. Um,
I mean, this week for me, yesterday I had somebody in, she was a nurse. Today, somebody was in finance and totally polar, you know, but you learn and all right, okay. Which is all sorts, people in web design or whatever it might be, different lifestyles. And that's what makes it fun, isn't it? What's the, what's the one thing then that's happened to you that you've gone, oh, that was just a special moment? Has there been a point where you've gone, yeah, that was fun?
I would say my fun comes when I'm working and collaborating with people and I get their idea and I hear their idea and we work together to achieve it. Like when it has that back and forth kind of interaction. It might not always be like with a client. It could just be somebody you're working with that's not in front of the camera, and having those type of interactions that makes it fun for me.
So it comes back to that creative thing for you.
Yeah, the creativeness or the collaboration.
Yeah.
Communication.
Building something.
Yeah, and listening to each other. I think that's a key part that I definitely know makes me happier. Like, oh wow, but we did a good job together. It would never be, oh, I did a good job. It's always like, wow, that was fun. We look what we did.
Yeah.
It's that, and it's also, when you have your client, that's what you did, because they're doing it. They're there. They took all the risks.
It's creating something together all the time, isn't it? That's one of the key things.
But together, we had a good experience, and you're leaving, with images that have meaning to you, and that's the most important. Like, it's meaningful to me if it's meaningful to you.
I think that's the key difference, isn't it, from portrait photography to all other aspects of photography. When you're talking about still life or motorsport photography or aerial photography or, stars or, there's all sorts of stuff, isn't there? That's, industrial, commercial. But then there's a collaboration always with all of them in a way.
It is. I mean, if you're doing things for your own, like, creative side, then that's for you. And if other people get to enjoy it, then that's a bonus. But when you're hired for help, to do a commercial job, it's all about your client, no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're hired for headshots and you're it's about the product, it's about the experience. It's, it's just making easy to work with, bringing the knowledge, being efficient, having your technical skills there so that things can move along smoothly. But yeah, so I just, I enjoyed that social aspect of it, is working with people. And then
do you enjoy that more? Do you enjoy that more because it's got a bit more flexibility than the teaching side, when you're just with and having to convey a particular thing? Do you think it's more open?
I think I enjoy it when it's more open, and because I think people understand that I'm willing to hear them and create with them, opposed to just tell them.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, if people just want that and they want to be told and that they're happy with that, I can do that. But I also leave the door open to say, well, I'm happy, give me your input. Let me hear what you have to say. And sometimes they just have to say a little bit, and you get the insight. You get, you hear something that is either something that they're afraid of or that they're enjoying. And then you use that to make the experience better.
Yeah.
So if it's something that they're afraid of or sensitive to, you're like, okay, I'll pay attention to that. Okay, I see what you mean. Like you validate them for that. And if it's, something, great and you're excited, then you just let it out. Well, oh my gosh, like, this is just amazing. Like, look at this. You look beautiful. You look great. That was a great idea. I love that. Like, then that stuff comes out,
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, all I'm going to say is I hope that you have lots more conversations with lots of people. You still find that little sparkle with everybody that obviously makes, you can see it with you when you're talking about that connection, that sparkle. You can see there's a light in your eyes because you're thinking about it, and you can, it obviously makes a difference for you and everything. So I hope you keep doing it and have lots and lots of clients and enjoy what you're doing, because it's been a pleasure chatting to you.
Yeah, same.
And thank you very much for joining us this week.
Thanks,
Sharon.
for asking. All right.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
If you've enjoyed today's episode, if you could just do me one favour, and that would be to like and subscribe, and I'll do my best to make sure Behind the Lens finds the best professional photographers from all over the world so we can enjoy their life stories. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.